We are now in a state of war against a very dangerous enemy, Iran. Iran, which was the financer of numerous terrorist organizations.
Shalom, I'm David Bagirov, originally from Azerbaijan. I was born and raised in there. I didn't know anything about Judaism.
Ohr Somayach is in a different type of a war. They're trying to secure our spiritual survival.
I think Ohr Somayach is absolutely necessary for the survival of Judaism in a world where everything is trying to tear us apart.
Lo b'chayo v'lo b'koach kiyim beruchi.
Ohr Somayach is on the front lines, battling assimilation, giving to Jewish students an understanding how magnificent his heritage is.
This is such a critical time because now our eyes are open. The world is turned on us.
Ohr Somayach is a place where B'nai Torah created yesh me'ayin, like God's creation, something literally from nothing.
Before I came to Ohr Somayach, Judaism was just something in the background.
Every city that I've ever been to, in all parts of the world, there have been Ohr Somayach graduates and Ohr Somayach alumni.
The levels here are unbelievable. There are people who don't know Aleph from Beis. We have students who are learning Gemara Be'ir, Sois.
Reb Nota Shira de Rosh Hashiva, Zechroina Levrocha, was a real visionary. And Ohr Somayach was actually the very first major Kiruv endeavor and institution.
It's about touching something that speaks to me, to my life, connects me to my past, and gives me some reason to go forward to the future.
They often achieve in just 1 or 2 years what one would normally expect many years to attain.
Here I discovered something powerful. Torah isn't just history, it's the survival of the Jewish people.
This is what Ohr Somayach does every day.
It's 30% of the Torah community in Eretz Yisrael is either Bali Tshuva or children of Bali Tshuva. 30%. And so we need a strong Ohr Somayach because that is what's going to ensure the survival of the Torah community and of the Jewish people in general.
I knew I was Jewish, I just never really knew what that meant.
Included in the mitzvah of loving Hashem is to bring his own children closer to Hashem.
And that's what Rav Nata Shiller Zatzal, that's what the Rosh Hashiva built this place to be. A place where any Jew, regardless of their background, can come here and be able to find their chelek, their portion in Torah.
Ohr Somayach can't do it itself. Ohr Somayach is a yeshiva that lives by the contributions of Klal Yisrael.
But there's so much more work that has to be done. And without your help, we're not going to be able to do it.
Ohr Somayach is vital for the survival of Klal Yisrael.
Buy into Ohr Somayach today and become a partner, become a shutef.
And whatever we can do, whether it's physical, whether it's spiritual, and perhaps most importantly, to invest in the future of the Jewish people.
Because the yeshiva has a very firmly established dita that we will never, ever turn down a student. Because of an inability to pay, we will find a way. But finding that way does cost money.
And the schus of this huge endeavor and great mitzvah, Kodesh Baruch Hu should bench you or b'chein, b'chesed, u'v'rachamim.
Tonight is the last day of Svira. And tomorrow night is the big day, Yom Kabbalas HaTorah. And we've embarked on this journey 49 days ago. And each and every day we came a bit closer. And tomorrow we finally reach our final destination. And this is a very special day. So the only one of the Sholosh Regalim that doesn't have any mitzvahs is Chag HaShavuos. Sukkos, we have two huge, beautiful mitzvahs, Mitzvah Sukkah and Mitzvah Lulav, with so much different interpretations, so much feeling. Pesach, we have many more mitzvahs. Shavuos, none, just Yom Tov. And when there are no mitzvahs, minhagim take central stage. If there are no mitzvahs, then the minhagim are really the spirit of the Yom Tov, the ruach of the Yom Tov. And Chag Shavuos has two fundamental minhagim, and there seems to be some fundamental lack of symmetry between the two minhagim. One is Leil Shavuos. It is the only night of the entire year in which we try to dedicate an entire night just to learn Torah. No sleep, no dvorim b'teilim, just dedicate the night to learn Torah. That's one minig. The other minig is blinches. How do they fit together? We could appreciate minig number one. This is the day that HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose us. This is the day He gave us Torah. What does it have to do with cheesecake? It has to do. There's an interesting Gemara in Psochim Daf Samaches. Rabbi Yochanan says there's a stira between two psukim regarding Yom Tov. Two psukim that are contradictory. Atzeres tia lochem, atzeres lahashem. So what is the real spirit of Chag Atzeres? Machloikes Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua, two of the greatest Tanaim. Rabbi Eliezer says you could choose. Each and every individual could choose every Yom Tov. Either Yosha v'Shoina, you could learn all day, or Oichel v'Shoisa, eat and drink. Yom Tov is a day of Simcha. Simcha has two different manifestations. It could be physical, eating and drinking. That is the way people rejoice. Or it could be a spiritual experience. Learn Torah all day. It's up to you. And you choose whether it's Atzeres LaHashem or Atzeres Tia Lochem. Rabbi Yeshua ben Hanani disagrees, and he says it's unreasonable. Chetzio LaHashem v'chetzio lachem. You need to divide your day. Eat, drink, have a good time, and they'll learn Torah as well. And then Rabbi Elazar says something surprising. Hakol modem ba'atzeres be'inem be'name luchem. Shavuos is an exception. And in Chag Shavuos, even Rabbi Eliezer would agree, you can't learn all day. You need to eat and drink and enjoy. And why is that? Yom Shabo Nitna Torah. Because this is the day in which HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us Torah. And that is counterintuitive. It is clear to me that if any one of you would be asked, which of the three Yomim Tovim would Rabbi Yeshua agree to Rabbi Eliezer that a person could choose to learn all day and not eat and not drink? It is clear we would respond, which of the three Yomim Tovim? Of course, Shavuos. Why? We would say the same words the Gemara says, Yom Shabo Nitna Torah. This is a day of Kabbalah Torah, so you definitely could learn all day. But Rabbi Elazar uses that same argument, Yom Shabo Nitna Torah, the other way around. And he says, even Rabbi Eliezer that says, other Yom Tovim you could choose to learn all day, but not Shavuos. Shavuos, you need to eat and drink. Why? Yom Shabo Nitna Torah. Does that make sense? Because of Rashi. And Rashi is a great commentator. All the others were his Talmidim. Laharot, to show, to prove, shenoyach v'mekubel olav yom zeh shabo nitna Torah liyisrael. We want to show we love this day. We love the day. And it is so enjoyable because this is the day we received Torah. To show, laharot, whom do we want to show? Whom do we need to show? Libi Yoimeli, my feeling is, yes, whom do we want to show our children, our kids? Because sometimes there is a misconception and people think and feel the Torah way is so hard, it's so difficult, it's so burdensome. You need to get up every day in the morning. You never have a free moment. You can't just feel carefree. Kodesh Baruch Hu is on top of you every day, every moment, but we have no other choice. This is why we're here. This is what Kodesh Baruch Hu dictates, and this is the only way to get to Olam Haba. And sometimes, for young people, that is a difficult choice. We want to prove and show our children, no. The Torah way is not only about Olam Haba, it's about Olam Hazeh. This is what you choose to enjoy life, to have a life of happiness, of fulfillment, of meaning, of ultimate joy. Laharois, we want to show our kids, this is the happiest way to live. There's a very famous brisa, and it is in the 6th perek of Masechet Weiss. Kachi darko shel Torah, pas b'melech toichal, mayim b'msurat tishta, ala aretz tishan, chayei tzar techyeh, uveTorah ato omer, ve'im ata oseh ken, ashrecha b'yolam hazeh, v'toiv lecha la'olam haba. And when our kids learn this brisa, they're deterred. We don't want this type of life. We don't want pas b'melech toichal u'mayim b'msurat tishta. We don't aspire to ala oretz tishan v'chayei tzar tichya. We all want a comfortable life, a happy life. And it is legitimate. This last Shabbos, like every 4th Shabbos, every month, we say Birchas HaChodesh. And we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give us Chayim sheyesh behem oisher v'chavod. Obviously, it is a legitimate request. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give us means. He should give us money. He should give us some covet, some status. If it would be an illegitimate request, we wouldn't say it in Birchas HaChodesh. Rashi, the greatest of all. Rashi's pshat in Masechet Weiss is, we don't aspire to pas b'melech toichel v'mayim b'surat tishta. What Chazal mean to say, even if you're in dire straits, and even though you have nothing to eat besides pas b'melech v'mayim b'mesura, and even though the situation is such that ala oretz tishan b'chayei tzar techyeh, nevertheless, in b'Torah to omer, ashrecha b'yolam hazeh v'toiv lecha liyolam haba. So this is not what we choose, pas b'melech u'mayim b'mesura, but it is what Chazal promise us. In every situation, and no matter what you are confronted with in life, choose the Torah way, u'b'Torah ato omer, and you will find happiness. So this is an important message to convey. The Torah life is not only about Olam Haba, it is about Olam Hazeh. I was in America last week, and I see a lot of people. And one of the people I met, it was not about money, it was just a friendly conversation. He asked to see me. I was told that he's a billionaire. But it wasn't really relevant because I didn't ask money from him. And we had a conversation, and he asked me, how many kids do you have? And I said, I have 7 children. They're all married? Yes, Baruch Hashem. How many grandchildren do you have? A lot. I don't think anybody here wants to know how many grandkids I have. A lot. Mishum Eina Bisha. I keep the number to myself. And then he gives a sigh. And he says, I have 5 kids. None of them are married yet. And my daughter's getting married to a boy from Georgia in Israel. He didn't seem to be very happy about that. And he says, my dream is to have a grandchild because my other kids don't seem to be interested in marriage. So my dream is to have a grandchild. And I think to myself, he's a billionaire. That's so sad, so sad. Western society is falling apart. It is in demise, it's disintegrating, and how happy we have to be and how lucky we are having a loving family and a big family and seeing your children and grandchildren follow in your footsteps. And what a beautiful experience is Shabbos and Yom Tov and hearing a wonderful shiur and being inspired. And Simchas HaTorah, and Simchas HaMitzvah. So the Torah way is not only the only way to achieve Olam Haba, it is about Olam Hazeh. So about 40 years ago, I met a person in America, and we became friends, and he told me he was one of the first Talmidim in Lakewood, one of the earliest Talmidim of Rabbi Aaron Kotler. He learned in yeshiva, and then he got married, and he went into business, and after many years, he was honored at a dinner, and Rabbi Aaron Kotler met him after many years, and Rabbi Aaron asked him, I never see you in yeshiva, I haven't seen you at a shiur. How are you doing? And he said, well, the yeshiva remembers me, I wasn't the biggest masmid in yeshiva, I wasn't very much into learning. Baruch Hashem, I'm doing business, and I'm very successful, and I have 5 Yesochas Zavunim contracts with great scholars. Ain't I doing the right thing? He asked Rabban, and Rabban said, I envy your Olam Haba. But what about your Olam Hazeh? He asked him, what type of an Olam Hazeh do you have if you don't come to yeshiva? I don't see you at a shiur. So he said, wow, you have a great Olam Haba. 5 Yesochas that you support. What a schos! But what type of an Olam Hazeh do you have if you never come to yeshiva? If you don't enjoy the intellectual beauty of Torah, of engaging Torah, of enjoying Torah. And this is an important message to share b'yoyim Kabbalas HaTorah. So the Gemara says twice in Shas, B'Mesiah Pei Nador Pei Alav, Alma of the Ha'aretz, quoting a posik in Navi. What caused Churban Beis Hamikdash and Goras Yisrael? Dove ze nish'al lechachamim leneviim, and according to the Geras of the Bach, Malachi Ashoris velo pirshu. The wise, the prophets, the angels. Nobody could understand, and nobody answered this question. What brought about the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash? Until HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself says, Al ozvam et Torati. They left Torah. And Chazal say, Shaloi Baruchu beTorah techilo. They did not say Birchas HaTorah. Degel Machne Ephraim. Does anybody here know who was the Degel Machne Ephraim? This seems to be a very Litvish establishment. No one here knows who was the Degel Machne Ephraim. One of the greatest disciples and a grandson of the Baal Shem Tov. You know who the Baal Shem Tov was, obviously. And he writes, Shomati Memori Zikaini. I heard from my great Rebbe. When Chazal say, Loi Baruchu beTorah techilu, they didn't say Birchas HaTorah. What Chazal mean, they didn't say, V'harevno Hashem Elokeinu is divrei teroschu befinu. That is the bracha they skipped and they missed out. And the Degel writes, Zepele. I wonder, where did he pick this up? And why did the Baal Shem Tov think that the bracha they didn't say was V'harevno? Well, V'harevno is the lesser of the 3 brachas. The Gemara says, Ma'ule sheba brochas, the most important bracha of Berchas HaTorah is Asher Bocha Banu, number 3. Number 1 is also an important bracha because it's Berchas HaMitzvah. HaRav is defined by halachic criteria as a bracha smucha lechaverta. It's only somewhat of a half bracha. So why did the Baal Shem Tov say that what brought about this tragedy was they didn't say HaRav? So let me share with you my feeling, Libi Yoimali. This Gemara is a tremendous pele because in Yom Avtes the Gemara says, what caused the churban of the Beis HaMikdash was Gimel Averes Chamuris Shebetoira. They committed the most grievous crimes and sins and transgressions. Shvichas Damim, Gilui Arayis, and Avodah Zarah. So how's the Gemara say it was because they didn't say Berchas HaTorah? And does it make sense for not saying a bracha? The gross greatest of tragedies, Churban Beis HaMikdash and Golus Yisrael? My feeling is this. Everybody knew what was the direct cause of Churban Beis HaMikdash. Yes. Gilui Arayis, Shvichas Damim, Avodah Zarah. They were obvious. They were everywhere. You could run, but you can't hide. And if there were Shofchei Damim and Ovdei Avodah Zarah and Gilui Arayis, they were known. The big question was, how did this befall us? How could a Jew be a murderer? Does this make sense? A Jewish murderer? The Gemara says in Yevamah is defined as Gimel Simonim Yesh Ba'umezu. Our people have 3 fundamental traits. Rachmanim, Baishonim, Goim Lechasadim. By nature, we are people of mercy, of compassion, of love. So how could a Jew be a murderer? How could a Jew be an idol worshiper, an Ovdei Avodah Zarah, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised Moshe v'gam b'cha yaminu le'olam? How did this happen? How did we sink to such terrible depths? That was the ultimate question that no one knew to answer and give an explanation. Till HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Al ozvam et Torati. When you go astray and when you lose Torah, there is no limit how deep you could sink. And then the Baal Shem Tov said, what were they lacking? HaRav. And it is only if our children will experience the beauty of Torah, we could be confident, and we could really hope that they will follow in our footsteps. So the Baal Shem Tov said, that was lacking. V'harevno Hashem Elokeinu es divrei Toroshu befinu. We should be able to feel and share the sweetness of Torah, the beauty of Torah, the ultimate joy of living a Torah life. And when our kids didn't see that, yes, we lost generations. That is how we lost our children. And that was the wisdom of the Baal Shem Tov and his interpretation. So the 3 brachas of Berchas HaTorah, if we try to categorize and define them by halachic criteria. Bracha number 1 is Berchas HaMitzvah. And that is the basic formula of Berchas HaMitzvah. Asher Kedeshanu b'mitzvosav v'tzivonu. Bracha number 3 is Berchas HaShevach. We thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for choosing us amongst all the nations and for giving us His beautiful Torah. What is V'harevno? How do we define this bracha? It is defined as Birchas HaTfilah. What does this criteria mean? Any bracha in which we not only sing the praise of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we not only express gratitude to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but we plead with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we ask Him to give us something, that is Birchas HaTfilah. So could you help me figure out Are there any other birchos atfila? Are you familiar with brachas in which we ask, we request? Maybe, but I'm thinking of some others that are far more obvious than birchas hamapel. All the middle brachas of Shemoneh Esrei, besides first three and last three. Each and every one, we have bakoshes. Another one, Tfilas Haderech. We should arrive safely home. All the other berachos atfila are very focused. Each bracha, one request, and not more. HaRav, no, we have two requests, and that is somewhat unusual. HaRav, no, Hashem Elokeinu, as divrei teroscho befinu. We should have the privilege to experience the beauty of Torah, and then we go on with another request. V'nihya anachnu v'tzetzueinu v'tzetzueinu kolonu yoydu shemecho. Two different bekoshes in one brocha. And I say, no, these are not two distinct and different bekoshes. They're two sides of the very same coin. It is only if we will be zoiche v'HaRav no Hashem Elokeinu as divrei teroscho befinu, could we really expect and hope שנהיה אנחנו וצאצאינו וצאצאי צאצאינו כולנו יודעי שמך ולומדי סירוסך לשמו. So these are not two different bakoshes. They are one and the same, and two sides of the same coin. So Chag HaShavuos, this is the day in which HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose us amongst all the other nations, and we became HaKadosh Baruch Hu's family and his children, and not only his servants. And this is the greatest day. And this is the day in which we want to share with our children how precious and how lucky we are. So many years ago, when I visited my great Rebbe, the Ohr Somayach Rebbe, in Union City, New Jersey, and he was very weak at the time in his elderly years. And as I walked into his room, he surprised me by asking a question, because usually he was the one to give the answers, not to ask us the questions. And he asked me, in Toras Moshe in Chumash, we have a few psukim speaking about the beauty of Eretz Yisrael, Eretz Zovas Chalav Udvash. So the pasuk puts milk before honey. But the pasuk in Shir HaShirim says, Dvash v'cholav tachas lishonech. So why does Shir HaShirim put Dvash before cholav, when in Chumash, cholav always comes before Dvash? I was a bit surprised that he turns to me asking a question and expects me to respond. And Chazal teach us, whenever your great Rebbe asks a question, the way to respond is Talmidecho anan v'meimecho anu sheisim, where your Talmidim and we drink from your waters. And I asked him, what does the Rebbe say? And he insisted, do you have an idea? And I said, I do. And I say, when we are talking about actual chalav and dvash, real milk and honey, milk is far more important and essential than honey. Without milk, there could be no humankind. Tina kayonik mishdei imoy. A newborn baby, all he could live on is his mother's milk. Without milk, there would be no mammals on this planet. And this planet will be ruled by the reptiles and the amphibians. You all know what reptiles are, yeah? So the only ones around would be the crocs and the alligators and the snakes. It would not be a very friendly place to live in. Without dvash, we could get along well. Our biggest problem would be, what do you do with the apple, B'rei Rosh Hashanah? Where do you dip in that apple if you have no dvash? So let me make this clear. When I spoke to the Ohr Somayach Rebbe, it wasn't exactly in the style I'm speaking to you right now. I didn't use the same terminology. So I say, when we're dealing with Real chalav and real dvash, chalav is far more important than honey. But the posik dvash v'chalav tachas l'shoinech refers to Torah. When it comes to Torah, you always put the dvash before the chalav. Dvash is the beauty of Torah, as sweet as honey, sweeter than honey. Hamasukim dvash v'nofet sufim. What does chelbo shel Torah mean? That's a Gemara at the very end of Masechet Brochos. And the Gemara explains another posik that's in Mishlei and not in Shir HaShirim. Ki mitz cholav yoitzi chema b'mi ata motzeh chema shel Torah. Where do you find cream and butter of Torah? B'mi shemeki oleo cholav sheyonek mishdei imo. If a person would throw up the milk that he nursed on, that is the highest level of toil, of amal, of yegia, and that's chelbo shel Torah. So when it comes to Torah, it is our responsibility as teachers of Torah, as marbitzei Torah, to give our talmidim dvash, honey, to feed them the beauty of Torah and to share with them the beauty of Torah, and only then could we expect that they will find the koyach and the courage to partake mechelbo shel Torah. And that is why this posuk puts dvash before chalav. And that's what Shavuos is all about. Yes, have your cheesecake and your blinches. Hakal moedim batzeres de be'ina beinam elochem leharot, to show, to inspire our children, to show them noyach v'mekubel yom zeh shebo nitna Torah leYisrael. So we spoke about the two minhagim. One minhag being up all night and learning Torah, the only night in the year in which we dedicate the entire night to learn Torah. Second minhag is cheesecake and blinches. Have a great time. Enjoy. So there are two different minhagim regarding minhag number 2. Our minhag is we have machal chalav. We have all those goodies in the morning. We make kiddush and milachiks, and then we have the Suda. Many years ago in Germany, in most Ashkenazi kehilas, the Suda, the first Yom Tov night, was a milachig Suda. That's when they had their cheesecake and their dairy macholim. My feeling is that our minhag is the right one. Yes, blinches are part of Shavuos, but it's not the right way to start Kabbalah Satayra. If you're going to start off with blinches, you're not going to get very far. So I think first you need to learn all night. After you learn all night, in the morning, bedinhu sheyitol l'scharo. You were up all night, you learn Torah diligently. Okay, now you could enjoy your cheesecake. So I just said a moment ago that we need to put dvash before chalav. I say if all year round you put dvash before chalav, Shavuos you could put chalav before dvash. So we're up all night and we learn Torah and we try not to speak dvorim b'teilim, but yes, your cheesecake is part. It is part of the day. Laharois shenoyach v'mekubal olav yom zeh shabo nitna Torah. We should appreciate that the Torah way is not only about olam haba. It is not something that we do grudgingly, that we do because we need to do it, because we want to achieve the ultimate goal of olam haba. It's about olam haza as well. It is about a life of meaning, of fulfillment, of joy, of ultimate happiness. And that is the Torah way. And that is a message we wish to convey on this very special day, Shabo Nitna Torah LiYisrael. Have a beautiful Yom Tov and a great day, and I hope Shavuos by night will be extremely meaningful and enjoying and enjoyable inches. Have a good Yom Tov.